Hello Halloween fans, today is our first Friday the 13th of 2020, a day that many consider a day of bad luck, curses, and evil. Some people know why the number 13 is considered an evil number, but why does it only scare people when the 13th day of a month falls on a Friday? Join me as we examine the origins of one of the world's oldest superstitions. Starting with a very real fear people have of the number 13, it actually has a scientific term: triskaidekaphobia. That was a challenging word to pronounce. Some thought this fear came from the Bible, but this fear isn't exclusive to any one religion or culture. Since ancient times, societies have seen the number 12 as a number representing completeness. 12 apostles, 12 months in a year, a 24-hour day divided in half is 12 hours of morning and 12 hours of the evening. The number 12 being a complete number is even used in works of fiction. But the number 13 has a negative reputation, perhaps of disturbing an order. Back to the 12 apostles point, it was actually 13 people at the Last Supper, including Jesus, but one of the apostles named Judas ends up betraying Jesus. Spoiler alert! It was after this that Jesus died during the crucifixion. Judas, being considered the 13th attendee to the Last Supper, was one origin for the number being seen as a bad omen. But there's a similar backstory in Norse mythology. One day at the Great Hall of Valhalla, 12 Norse gods were all dining together when the feast was interrupted by a 13th member, Loki, the god of mischief. Marvel fans are probably already familiar with the comic book versions of Thor and Loki, but for the sake of background, two more of Odin's sons were Hoder, god of winter who was also blind, and Balder, god of summer who was seen as a kind and joyful being. During this feast, Loki tricked Hoder into throwing a spear at Balder that was tipped in the one substance that could kill him: mistletoe. This event was actually referenced in an episode of Hercules' Legendary Journeys where Loki tricks Hercules into pricking Balder with a small dart dipped in mistletoe. Yeah, it seems like no matter what adaptation you're watching, Loki's kind of an asshole. And his presence as the uninvited 13th member at the feast that led to the death of a beloved god labeled 13 as a sign of bad luck, a sign of evil, a sign of a terrible event to take place. This superstition has taken modern forms in some unexpected places. Many organizations or businesses will do whatever they have to keep their numbers away from 13, such as some hotels that won't label a 13th floor, or some floors in buildings won't have 13 rooms. And as you just saw, we can't blame any one thing for this. People are scared of the number 13. So why is it especially bad when the 13th falls on a Friday and not any other day? We love Fridays, right? It's the end of the school week, the end of the work week, the start of the weekend. But earlier in our history, Fridays were instead known as execution days. Jesus' crucifixion happened on a Friday. In fact, Fridays were traditionally when crucifixions were held. This affected most cultures in regards to Friday's reputation, but it really took shape in the US during the 1800s. At this point in American history, capital punishment was a much more common practice, and these state-approved executions took place on, you guessed it, Fridays. So you have Friday being known as the day of the week when someone would be executed, and the number 13 being labeled as a number representing bad luck and evil. So before long, people put the two together and we got the widespread fear of Friday the 13th, the day when supposedly evil would run rampant in some way. Now of course, works of fiction eventually capitalized on the superstition. The prime example everyone thinks of is the series of slasher movies titled Friday the 13th. It was originally planned to be a series of disconnected films, with each film revolving around a different type of horror that would only manifest on Friday the 13th. They just ended up sticking with Jason as the reoccurring villain because of name recognition leading to high ticket sales. So now you know where the superstition came from. But how valid is it in this day and age to be scared of Friday the 13th? Well, I suppose that's a matter of perspective. Some people believe that any bad luck they've had was due to Friday the 13th, or even just something related to the number 13. While others don't have any reason to buy into the superstition and instead have more fun with it. They commemorate the day by doing something spooky like watching any of the Friday the 13th films, or playing the Friday the 13th video game, or meeting up with friends and family to tell scary stories as though it were Halloween. I guess this day is really only a day of evil if you truly believe it is. And with that, this video is over. If you have any thoughts on Friday the 13th, please leave them in the comments section. Live Halloween, everyone! See you in the next video.